Hey guys, if you have a foam roll available, that is going to be helpful. If you don't have a foam roll, you can have a couple of solid blankets. I'm going to be covering some sort of different stuff today. I had someone from Twitter, a friend of a friend, tag someone in a post because they were having problems on the inside of their knee. And my assumption is, based on the little picture they drew of where they were feeling pain, that it's probably in their adductors. The problem is it's kind of hard to reach inside into that area to be able to deliver pressure. It sounded like the person also is a little bit hypermobile, which is when you take class with me, it's the reason I was recommending you don't overstretch. People who are hypermobile are actually at a higher risk potential than people who are just stiff and tight. I have to watch the hypermobile people because I don't want them hyperextending joints, things like that. If you have a step stool, if you have something like this, now this one that I have is super solid, okay? But I can use this guy to be able to press into my adductors. The problem is if I put a foam roll down the ground, I have to roll around in a way that I find is particularly not advantageous. It's not very easy for me to put pressure into the inside of the thigh in the adductors. So I'm actually going to try it with the step stool. Now this has a pretty firm edge. To dampen that, I'm going to use one of the blankets. And I can put that blanket over the top so it's going to soften those edges. If I want to make it even softer, I would double it up again. This is the only thing I can think of that I had, other than maybe the couch in the living room. But even the couch wouldn't quite be sharp enough if it had rounded edges. If it had rounded edges, I might put down a tennis ball and a towel over that rounded edge to try to press into my adductors, right into the inside of the thigh. So the hip adductors are a whole group of muscles. You've got gracilis, you got, is it gemellus? No, that's deep internal rotators. You got gracilis, you got adductor magnus, you have a whole host of muscles that adduct the hip. The hip abductors are what pull the hip away. The adductors are on the inside, they pull the hips in. If you watch the film Fire in the Sky, if you're looking for something completely freaky to watch this time because you're sitting around, Fire in the Sky documents a guy getting abducted by aliens, taken away. Abduction isn't what we're working on today. We're working on the adductors, the ones on the inside. So, if you're having a problem down towards your knee, it could be the portion down towards the knee itself. It could be on the inside of the thigh. It could be all the way up towards the pubic bone. I don't really know where you feel it. It's okay to put pressure on any of these areas for most people, unless you're having some sort of, if you just had a stroke, not a good idea. If you have major cardiovascular issues, the femoral artery runs through here, so you might not want to put pressure then. But otherwise, as long as you're healthy from a cardiovascular standpoint, I think this is totally fine. I'm going to improvise this. I don't remember the last time I've done this. My adductors don't particularly bother me, but the work I do is very heavy on my legs and feet, so I'm constantly moving around. I'm going to try on my left side, since that's usually the more tight. I'm going to double this guy up, and I'm going to fold it over, because I want to dampen this edge right here. This edge here would be really sharp. Now, I might want to build up to that, but initially, usually the way the work is going to go is you're going to go superficial to deep and general to specific. So I'm going to come in and sit, and I'm going to see if I can hook that leg right inside there. Now, I'm using body weight to try to lean into my hands to apply pressure. And in my case, I think this is a little too thick. I'm going to half it. I think I could use something a little bit sharper, a little more pointed. Oh, okay. Now, I'm going to use this foot and kind of stand, or start to put a little weight into it and lean forward. Now, I can start to feel the pressure on the inside of this thigh. I can move this around closer to the pubic bone. Ooh, right in there. Now, instead of lifting the hip up, if I relax and allow the adductor to sink, Which direction feels better to you? Is it the lifting up and away? Or is it sinking down and over? I'm going to move to a little bit, a spot just a little bit closer to the knee right there. Oh. Now, I can also do this. I can shear to the front or the back. If I lean forward. Now, right there, I get some of that sensation on the inside of my knee. I don't have any pain on the insides of my knees, no issues there. But I do feel that as I'm about to the lower third, well, maybe almost a half of the thigh. I'm going to move even just a little bit further lateral and out away from the hip, just working the muscle there. I think you could see that we could probably lay down and start to work on the adductors using a foam roll, but I think that's more complicated. The foam roll also isn't quite as sharp. It moves. This was a perfect stool to be able to do this, but you know, I have lots of practice and training. It also depends on what you guys have at home. I wouldn't do that over IKEA furniture, it might break. But if you were at your couch, again, if you put the tennis ball down and towel over it, you might be able to work on that. For my friend on Twitter there, I hope that helps you out a little bit, something you can use. I think you could do that a couple times a day. Again, I don't see any major harm. If it feels intense, that's fine. If it feels painful, I would back off. It very much feels like getting a massage where they stick an elbow in your back and you're like, ooh, right there. Make sense? So, two options. I'm going to have you first go ahead. I want you to take your foam roll out and I want you to put it in your upper back. I'm going to put this guy to the side. I'm going to show you how I'm going to use this again since I've already got it out. But I'm going to put the foam roll down and work on my thoracic spine. Not by working on the chest, but by working in the back to open the chest. So let's put this guy out of the frame. I'm going to bring the foam roll down. And I'm going to move my stuff here. I think the microphone will be okay there. Let me scoot it over just a little bit. And here's what I want to do. This guy rolls. If I have my feet on the mat, I should be able to get it up in between my shoulder blades. Now, I don't want to roll up and down aggressively, but I do want to support the head and neck and just start to roll up and down. Very lightly. I'm just massaging either side of the spine, rolling up through the upper back there. You can lift or sink as much as you want, as much as is comfortable. If you find a good spot between your shoulder blades and you want to hang out there, I'm going to grab a blanket. I'm going to fold it once, probably fold it again. I'm going to put it up above so my head and neck can rest there. There we go. I think I need just a little bit more. So I'm going to grab my towel since the other blanket was on the chair there. I'm going to fold this guy down. I want to give myself just enough lift so there's no strain on my neck while I do this. There we go. Now my chest can fall back and open. Now that little bit of pull, that little bit of connection, because now I've got some pressure at the back of the head, I can start to make these little movements with the head and neck. I'm just kind of moving around there. I can put the arms wherever I like. Sometimes I can rest them on the foam roll. I'm trying to allow the chest to open back, to go into thoracic extension instead of thoracic flexion. A lot of the back pain I see in people is because of thoracic flexion. In other words, they're slouching forward. What we're trying to do is we're trying to open. Now, for where I'm at right now on the foam roll, it started to feel like there's not a lot of activity here. I want to go a bit higher, but when I move, I need to take my blanket with me. There we go. And I want to be able to prop myself so I can open the upper back. If I'm balanced on my feet, can I lift my bottom? The angle, depth of pressure The angle you put your spine in is completely up to you. It does not matter. It doesn't matter if you're down, doesn't matter if you're up. It's just you working on your own spine. And again, I want to go just a little bit lower. Now, what I get is I started to tuck my chin. As I tuck my chin, I feel those cervical vertebrae. It feels about like C7 through C6 and C5. I've likely got some arthritis there because of the whiplash I had, but that little bit of length starts to feel like it's tractioning my cervical spine, gently pulling it apart in a way that feels good. Feels like we're stretching something that's tight. I also start to get a little tingle, a little activity down my arms, but those trunks of nerves that exit C5 through 7 go down the arms. If I want to play with arm position, we talked about mobility and sort of roles yesterday. Where do you want to move? Both arms together, both arms apart. You want to lower yourself down. That feels better to me. If I want to lift the head higher, what happens if I tuck? There we go. A little bit more. I don't want you to think that this lazy reclined yoga is less effective. This is putting you in a sustained stretch. Something that I think is in some ways more profound because it sort of creates a space for your body to very deeply unwind and let muscle go. But we don't have to work at it. We're tricking gravity into falling open instead of having gravity pull us closed every day the way it does, falling forward. This allows me to fall back. I'm going to lift up just a little bit, want it a little bit lower, trying to find that spot on my thoracic spine between my shoulder blades. If I keep the pressure on my sacrum and keep the pressure on my shoulder blades and upper back, I'm going to lift just my head because my body, my neck likes this little bit of a stretch in the posterior. And always breathe comfortably, slowly. You can tuck the chin, give yourself a little bit more length. You can look towards the right hip, look towards the left hip, whichever direction feels good to you. And after I got some length there, I'm going to lower myself back and down again. Right there. What feels good? Think of this as the yoga lazy boy. We're getting stuff done, but you're doing this in the most lazy way possible. You're just trying to open up and create space in the upper back. If you're anything like me, you work at a computer, you're sort of slouched forward all day. This helps minimize that. If my arms get tired of being in that position, I can change it, move them down. Very much change the pressure I felt. Now that my hips have had a rest, I'm going to lift myself up again. Little bit of up and down, back and forth, trying to find the sweet spot. Right there. Now, if I want to roll just a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left, which side in the upper back, in the thoracic, along those paraspinals, which of those needs a little bit of work? Feel free to prop yourself. Either side, just remember to breathe. Any of these variants, this is the 4th day you've worked with me, you can play with this. You can change this. Ooh, man, when I went to my left, tender, right? Oh, right there. Now, if I'm pressing on the left side, what happens if I lengthen and I pull that shoulder blade away? I'm lengthening the rhomboids. Ooh, right there. Breathe. And back to center again, arms open. Don't put your shoulders in a spot where they feel compromised. We're trying to create space, create a sense of openness, a sense of relaxation, of calm in the nervous system as we do this. It's not forcing, it's not jamming. And then to come off, I'm going to gently pull myself up. I'm going to roll myself up. So I come back to seated. I think I'm going to show trying to get to the adductors, the adductors. Adductors on the outside. Adductors, add, pull in. I'm going to try to see if I can get into the adductors from the foam roll itself, and we'll see if this works. I think I can get away without putting a towel over the foam roll. In my case, I felt like I had a little more tension on that left side, so I'm going to see if I can alter this in a way that will allow me to do this. So if I bring this leg above and I start to straighten this leg out, what happens if I begin to place pressure into the foam roller and then stack body weight? Now, with this extended left leg, I can press into the ground. And see, for me, that's just not quite as deep as it was on the other side. I'm going to bring my body up. That's a little bit more. This is more broad. I would actually want something that was a bit more specific, but depending on how tender this was, this might work for you really well. Since I haven't done this in a while, I'm just exploring, just trying to figure out how I can apply pressure into the inside of the thigh in a way that's going to work. Now, if I lift my body up and I hook this leg over, that's a little bit more, but not quite. I actually preferred that. I've spent a lot of time using tools like this, trying to figure out how to deliver pressure into specific areas, and that's my preferred choice because of that sturdy edge. The challenge is that guy's probably made of steel. It's extremely, extremely dense. I know that it's not going to break or fall over because of its stability. This right here is a little more challenging. If I stack body weight just so, I can deliver a broader pressure into the adductors. I can use this left hand to press down, but I feel like I want to, that was a little more. If I rolled forward, right in there. I can get a little bit, but I can also roll up and down. If I go down towards the knee more, that'll probably be a little bit more dense. And yet, I have a little harder time going towards the groin. As I go towards the knee, this is accessing that area a bit more, so I'm going to stack some weight. If I put my hand on the foam roll, the interesting thing is I can roll the foam roll down to access there, or I can roll it up. If you want, you can try both sides. This felt much, much more broad. This is more like using a big, big, broad structure to press in. That was almost more like an elbow because of how pointed it felt. It doesn't matter what tool you use, so long as it's more effective to you. I'm actually going to change up. So now that I did the back bend over the foam roll, I'm going to show you how I use furniture. If you guys are watching from your living room and it's possible for you to do this around your couch, it's totally fine. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to place this over the edges here because I don't want to press on my back. I think I'm going to grab the second blanket and put it down because, again, I don't want those sharp edges pressing into my back. That'll give me some doubled up pressure there. I'll move that out of the way. See what we got here. You doing back bends over your furniture, everybody? So I'm gonna use this guy and do a back bend over this. Now, this is the 4th day we've done this. We've kind of, we're building, we're showing you how I modify the practice to make it fit like an American audience, try to open up parts of your body, allow you to work on yourself. 2, we just went ahead and opened the upper back and chest doing a back bend. What I'm going to come in and do is I'm going to place weights and I'm going to see if I fall back and over, This guy's big and broad. If you're over a couch, it might be a little bit sharper. You might have to put some bolsters, props, blankets over it, right? So for me, this feels pretty good. The edge here feels like it's just at the base of my shoulder blades. I want to move just a little bit higher, so I want to scoop my bottom down. There. Now, if I want to support the head, I'm right there. But I have enough weight here I can balance. Don't fall over or roll on your couch. Now, this feels good to me. When my head is below my heart, there's lots of good venous return. It's changing my position in gravity. I'm going to lengthen my neck again, like it did on the foam roll. I want to lengthen that guy. Let it fall back. The hands prevent me from pulling too far, too deeply with the head back in a way that feels like it's jamming my cervical spine. I also get a chance with the hands to sort of pull the head and neck away. There's this little bit of traction. Oh yeah, right there. Now if I lift up just a little bit and continue that little pull, that little traction. Now in my case, I've got a pretty stable platform. If I pull my legs up and pull my feet back, oh. Big chest opening stretch. Opening the upper back and neck. If you just do this on a foam roll, totally fine. You'll build up. Now, if I use the hands behind the knees here, I can interclasp. It's going to pull levator scapula, the shoulder blades, down and away. I can push the knees away. Can lift the head and neck a little bit. Mobilize. What feels good? What feels open? I'm going to open the arms out again, up overhead. Now, most people spend their day-to-day existence in the complete opposite position. Gravity is pulling them down, pulling their chest closed. This opens the rib cage. The rib cage itself is the last line of allowing the diaphragm and the lungs to open. When you put yourself in this open position, the lungs can expand fully because there's more space between the ribs and the intercostals, right? And slowly bring myself down. I'm going to put my feet down comfortably. You're going to do this slow. You'll see I'm very pale when my head is turned red. It's just because of the excess blood flow. I'm going to give my neck some support as I come up. Going to roll up, roll to one side, roll to the other, and bring myself up. So I do things like that on furniture constantly. It increases this opening. So for me, even though like most people I get a little bit of a slouch, what I tend to feel is in my cervical spine, probably because of that trauma. I tend to feel like a shortening here. When I do that, I automatically feel taller when I finish because those muscles in the front have lengthened and opened. We're going to go ahead and progress to the next piece of class. We're going to do like a sun salute or two just to see how it feels. This is like going back to what we did previously. Once I start playing in class, there are no rules. My yoga classes started to look highly improvisational because students would come in and I'd say, hey, what do you have problems with? And just like my friend on Twitter who's having a problem with their adductors, I would literally reference the class and shape it around what their problem was. But when I was able to help people with their problems, I kept getting more fans, kept getting more students, kept getting more clients, and they were like, wow, there's kind of a method to this guy's madness. And that is correct, yes. I know how to work on chronic pain. That's my real bread and butter. Soft tissue stuff. So I'm going to take the blankets off and put them aside. I'm going to move this guy out of the way. And we're going to go up to the front of the mat again. Just like before, just stand tall. Now, my upper back and my shoulders, my neck feel completely different already. Very different than when I started, just from that little bit of opening we've done. Stand tall, long spine. So before, it was like I'd have to do this and I'm like, wow, this is so open now. I feel like a very different position from my shoulder joints down to my arms. Just feels very open. And big in-breath up. And exhale, fold forward, bend at the knees, walk it out, back and forth. And slowly roll up. Back to neutral again. Always just exploring. The practice, if we think of it as achieving, I think is how people wind up hurting themselves, harming themselves if they're pushing. What about just hanging out where you are? What about testing your edges? Exploration. Exploration is nice. That's where we find out what's up with our body. Big in breath. Arms up. And as you exhale, swan dive forward. You can allow your chest to rest on your thighs. You do not have to lengthen the legs completely. Right about there. That's where my bend is. That's about my hamstring stretch right there. Now, my legs are pretty open. I was always more flexible than most guys. You put my palms down, right? Doesn't matter. What if you're right here? So what? Put your hands here. Relax. And good solid weight on the feet. I'm going to step the right foot back, runner's lunge. I'm going to bring myself up. And swan dive forward, left foot back. And lower yourself down, in breath, up. Feel free to move. Don't feel like you're stuck. You're mobilizing joints. Feet under, down dog. You can walk the feet a little bit further forward. Good grip. Walk it out. Left to right, side to side. Heels down. Oh, big, long, lengthened. Now, if I lean forward through the head, if I lift the head and arm, head and neck, mobilize, move it around, create space. Don't feel like you're stuck. Breathe in the pose. Then step the right foot forward, left foot is back, big runner's lunge again. Good balance here. And left foot forward, forward bend, take your time. Walk it out, left to right. Side to side. And slowly roll up, look up, palms together, little back bend, squeeze your bottom, lean back. What feels comfortable to you? Back to center. Big in-breath. And exhale, squeeze your bottom, lift your arm. And forward again. Walk it out. And both feet step back. Down dog again. Left to right, side to side. Now, I love this pose. Just find good balance on your left foot, step it a little bit more to center. So it's like you got left and right up here. Your foot would be right in between the hands, but down below. You're gonna lift that leg up and just play. Feel free to just move it around. You don't have to lift it up as high as I do. You're playing with range of motion, right? Opening your body, creating space. It's your yoga practice. Other than protecting you from injury, we just walk you through your own range of motion and strength. We help you build. And I'm going to drop that guy down. He's basically going to go in the footprint of the previous. Now this side. Play with the movement. What can you do there? And down dog again. Both legs. And slowly down to your knees. I'm going to put my hands in the small of my back and just open the chest, open the upper back, elbows, shoulders gently back. Now, if you don't have that foam roller, I want you to take these blankets and I want you to roll them up. So if you had two of them, kind of like this, I can take these guys and just roll them as tightly, as snugly as I could to approximate a foam roll. This is going to be not quite as firm as the foam roll, but that'll get you by in the meantime if you don't have one. If you do have a foam roll, that's highly recommended. Mine are pretty firm. They've got a little more pressure. Because we've got some tightness in the hamstrings, we've worked on the hamstrings, lengthening in those forward folds, forward bends. We're going to work on some compression in the hamstrings. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Grab your foam roller. You're going to put that guy down. And again, you can do this with the blankets, but you're going to get much more if you're able to use the actual foam roller. This is going to be more firm. Doesn't have as much give. It's going to apply a little bit more pressure. I'm going to come in and sit. I'm going to find where my ischial tuberosities are, my butt bones. And I'm going to come in and sit. Now I can roll just a little bit back. And what I want to do is I can feel the bony edge of my bottom. If I find that bony edge, I can sit real tall, but I want to roll just past it into those insertions of the hamstrings. So now I'm going to lean more onto my left side. Feels a little tender. I'm getting a little bit of referred pain, a little bit of referred sensation lower right here. Leaning to that left side. Ooh. Then I can kind of shimmy side to side as I apply some pressure there. Ooh, that was intense. I'm going to switch to the opposite side. Oh, wow. I'm trying to figure out if this feels a little bit more intense actually, just here on the right side. A little shimmy. I can go back and forth, meaning front to back. I can also go side to side. On that right side, oh, a little pressure right in there. I'm going to sit back to the center. So the ischial tuberosities are just on the posterior, just on the back side of the roller. I'm going to come a little bit further back. I'm walking down the hamstrings. And when I get to about midway, if I fold forward here and lean, I get a little stretch on my low back, but I'm getting more pressure right into those hamstrings, applying some pressure there. If I want to balance my body weight and reach my fingers back, I can lift the heels off the ground. I can gently roll back and forth. Just place your hands in a way that feels comfortable to you as you roll back and forth. I'm going to go a little bit closer to my knees. Ooh, yeah, right there. Back and forth. Back and forth. What happens if you lean more to the right? More to the left? Oh. Some weight right there. Put some weight in my hands. Can't quite grab on the roller. Now, I'm going to extend my body back. I'm going to open up. I can open my chest. I'm going to try to gently roll. It's not as much pressure in the hamstrings, but I can roll almost the entire length of my hamstrings this way. And I get a chance to work on my hands and arms and my balance. Where is the sweet spot on your legs? If you feel more tension in the left, here's what I want you to do. I want you to balance your body. That leg is down below. Your hands are equidistant on either side. I want you to lift, ooh, and cross. Oh, right there. Oh, that was what I was looking for. Now, if I want to lengthen that back line, I can pull the foot back towards the chest. Oh, right there. A little bit higher, a little bit lower. Now, can you back bend through the chest here? Going to switch legs, into the right and across the left. Ooh, right there. Ooh, ee. Oh, right into I. Going to pull the right foot back and lengthening that back line. And slowly, I'm going to bring myself forward. The ischial tuberosities are still just to the posterior. They're right at the top again. And I'm going to see if I want to lean again. Ooh, man, I'm surprised at how tense that is right there. This is actually getting in there pretty good. I'm going to cross this leg. I'm trying to stack my body weight. I'm still not on the butt bone. I'm just in front of it into the muscle, into that thick insertion. I feel this deep kind of referred pain down the back of my leg. If I want more pressure, what do? Bring my body up. Ooh. Long spine. Good breathing. And I'm going to switch to the opposite. I'm going to find the balance between the two. Lean into the right. Yeah, right there. Ooh. And I'm going to cross this guy over. Bring your body up if you want more pressure. It's totally fine if you back out. If you want a little to lessen the pressure, you press on the foam roll and lift yourself up. Ooh-wee. Now I'm going to bring myself back to center. Now I'm going to play here. You can do this at home if you want, but I want you to be careful. I don't want you to roll off your foam roll and hurt yourself. I'm going to see if I can balance on this. I'm going to lift up. I want to see if I can press into the foam roll to keep myself balanced while I lift my heels. Nope, can't quite keep it. Right there, right. Well, it was worth a try. Now, for me, I think I want to roll forward into my gluteals. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around. And let's see here. There's my ischial tuberosities. I'm going to roll just past, almost onto my sacrum. And I'm going to see if I can bring my body back and down. See if I can adjust where the foam roll is. I want to be solidly on my sacrum. I just have to figure out how to lower myself down. Now I can move this guy higher or lower, doesn't matter. Now as I roll side to side, in the middle feels good. like I'm still getting this skin traction. So if this felt really, really good, I could just take the foam roll using my hands and push it down in a way to sort of pull that sacral skin down towards my tailbone. If I thought that felt best, or I could pull it up, or I could even shift side to side, right? In my case, I would have bent the knees and roll, ooh, yeah, okay. Big and broad, right into the gluteals. I'm trying to find the spot on my right side. Oh, yeah. So, kind of this referred kind of band on the outside of my leg. I'm going to lengthen this guy out, and I'm going to start to play. Where do I feel? What's going on there? If I want to lengthen both legs, I can. It just depends on the pressure that you can take. You can do the same thing over the towel. It's just not going to be quite as firm. Oh. Breathe. I'm going to roll here to the opposite side. Oh. Oy, oy. Right in there. Going slow, just exploring your own range. What does your body dictate? How do you want to move? What feels good? The other thing I know as a yoga teacher is whatever makes you feel good is what you will keep doing. If it doesn't feel good, you'll quit. We're going to continue exploring that range through the gluteals. So, back on your foam roll. If I want this time, I can lay down. And what I'll do to put myself in position is I'm just going to grab the foam roll and lift and then roll myself up. There we go. Now, I can pick the side I want to press on. I feel a little bit more tightness on this right side. So I'm going to prop myself right there. Now, just like before, my body's got a little bit of a twist. My spine has a little bit of a twist. I'm really pressing more into my gluteus maximus, I think maybe a little bit of medius to the side. So I'm going to grab the foam roll and push it just a little bit down. And then pull it just a little bit up. And I think the down feels better to me, so I'm going to do that. Then with that combination of down, I'm going to see, do I want to pull to the left or the right? And I think the right feels better, so I'm going to try to do both. I'm going to roll the foam roll down while also pulling, right there to the right. Doing both at the same time. My left hand is pushing the foam roll away. My right hand is pulling the foam roll into me. So I'm sliding my body over that way. Right in there. Then if I want to rest, if I want to roll a little more lateral, so long as it's comfortable and I don't feel like I'm going to fall off. Ooh, lots of options here. Now I'm very clearly on the side at that point. I'm going to scoot this just a little bit higher. Roll onto my gluteus medius. Hooking my legs together for some support. If I want to lengthen the legs, I can. That's going to make it more intense. Ooh. Now, these sorts of things, what I want to tell you is, as a yoga teacher, what I found out was, at first you think, well, wait a second, this isn't yoga. This isn't strengthening anything, but I have to use body weight and support to be able to move myself around, so I build some strength. 2, there's something that happens when you send a unique input into your nervous system. Your nerves seem to create a situation where the muscle is softer and pliable. You get more muscle control. What it means is I can do a series of these, like triangle pose, warrior 2, after I've done some hip and leg work, and the poses feel completely different. Now, I'm going to roll a little bit now to the left, just like the other side. So I don't want you to knock this as like, this isn't yoga.
I want you to explore range of motion and be mindful. I'm going to scoot myself a little bit lower. That feels better to me. Right in there. Ooh-wee. If I want to lengthen, I can. This is working all around my sides, all around my abs, strengthening all of this. And breathe. Oh, right in there. And we're going to roll back to center. And in my case, I'm going to bring the feet together and allow my legs to open. I've got a little support from the roller there. So I just wanted to hang out for a second. This feels nice because I was using all of these muscles to support. Now they're just resting. If I like the pressure down along my sacrum, we're going to alter this. So my sacrum is pretty solidly on the roller. I'm going to lift it just a bit higher. I lifted myself up. I'm going to find that center spot right at the small of my back. I say the small of my back, but it's above the tailbone on the sacrum, not in the lumbar spine. Then I'm going to slowly lift my legs up and back. I'm pulling the toes back and open, creating some length on those hamstrings, but I'm relaxed here. I'm going to put my hands behind my head. Now, what happens if I start to alter this? You're thinking about like splits, but if you want to focus more on the leg that's down or the leg that's up, you can toggle back and forth. Oh, now what happens if we roll with a twist here? And the opposite side. Big, long lengthen. And to the left now. Oh, right in there. Your legs can be as bent, as mobile as you want. Does not matter. You're just exploring your own range of motion, exploring your own breathing as you go. All of this is really going to help you with those standing yoga poses, all that stuff with your legs. We've also worked, this is our 4th day. We spent the first 3 days, we did a lot of strengthening stuff. Even I had just a little bit of tightness. This helps unwind some of that. Oh, and back to center. Legs up. And I'm going to slowly roll this guy out and bring myself down. I'm going to stand my foam roll up and out of the way. And this time we're going to see what we can do with the fronts of the thighs and the quads. I'm not going to do any deep compression with the foam roll on these, but I am going to show you how to use your hands and arms to deliver a little bit of pressure into that area. Just again, something as I think of as a supplement. It's allowing you some additional tools to play with as you work on yourself. Don't feel like you're ever stuck with specific tools. You can always use whatever is available to you, and that's easy to access. So I'm going to come and sit. I'm going to face the camera a bit more here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this right leg down and extend this left out. This gives me this open space here. Now, when we started, we talked about the adductors. The adductors, if they're tight, do what? Hey! Kind of pull the hip up, right? There's a lot of factors that go into hip mobility. I don't want you to have any judgment about that. In fact, if you want to deliver pressure but your legs are up like this, you can't really, because your leg wants to move, right? You can take one of your blankets or a towel. You can fold that guy or fold it in half. You can put it like this. Because now I'm taking the pressure off, but I can start to use my forearm, to roll this guy out. Now, it's a little bit more difficult when I go down towards the groin to be able to get pressure in here, but I want you to understand, could you push with an elbow? Yes, but I suggest you start with something broad, like the forearm. Just roll that out. It's going to be easier for you if you find out that that referred pain is coming towards this lower section because it's easier to get to. Now what happens if I find a spot, and I'm rolling out a little bit more towards my quads, a little bit less to the adductor, and I go, man, right there. Ooh. Now, what happens if I grab that with my ulna? That's that bone on the outside of my forearm here. And then I'm going to grab at the wrist. I'm going to shear out towards my knee. Oh, right there. Or back towards my hip. Which one of those do you prefer? I like towards the knee. Now that I've got out towards the knee, do I want to shear to the posterior? Oh, or anterior to the front? I'm going to go to the posterior, right there. This is a way of working on yourself. Could you build up to an elbow? Yes. Go slow. What feels intense, but not painful. No pain. No pain, no pain, no pain. Don't want it to be painful at all. But if I hook right in there, and then okay, for me, I want to cross fiber. Right towards my knee. Right there. Oh. Whew, that's sharp. Wow. Now, if you felt like this was the right tool, but it's too sharp, you felt like, hey, the elbow, it's like, for some reason that elbow gets right in there, but it's just a little too much. What do? You put the towel over it, and now you can lean in with that elbow, but now it's dampened. It's not quite as sharp. It's the same pointy tool to hook right there. And I can still shear out towards the knee, in towards the hip, back, wherever that is, just to help open that up. Now, I don't think of this as like you're sculpting your body. What you're really doing, are you ready for this? So, generally people would say that yoga makes you more flexible. The science, I don't know if it really shows that. Are you ready for me? Just follow me for a second. Don't argue with this part. Just listen to this. What it really does is you put yourself in stretches. You put yourself in a position to open up your body. You put yourself in a position to lengthen a muscle. What happens if I over lengthen my hamstrings? My body goes, hey, hold on. You're going to hurt yourself. Your body's used to a normal range of motion. When you go towards an end range of motion, your nervous system has to induce calm. So what do? You put yourself in that end range. It feels intense. You breathe, and your nervous system says, oh, okay, that's safe. And lengthens and allows you to go a little bit deeper. So from the outside, you look more flexible, but what you're really training isn't your muscles. You're training your nervous system. You're training your nervous system to let go. Part of the way that I retrain my nervous system when it comes to soft tissue is if I find an area like my adductors that are giving me a problem, is I'm going to search through the tissue around the adductors to see if I feel anything that feels dense, tense, or tight. And what I do is I put a stimulus into my nervous system. Right there. Out towards the knee. In my case, I think I'm going to go a little bit back. And what I do is I go, hey, nerve, what's going on there? And they're like, hey, man, what's that? You're trying to induce calm. What I do find is, if you're a yoga teacher, yoga practitioner, somebody studying with me, I can help you with your mobility more rapidly doing soft tissue techniques than just yoga. What people think of as stretching has very limited therapeutic benefit. I'm not saying it doesn't have any. I'm saying it has very limited therapeutic benefit. I can usually help people in their yoga practice much faster by helping them as a teacher or a practitioner with soft tissue work to be able to help them open up specific areas to remove pain. Once pain is removed in that young person's adductors who messaged me on Twitter, what happens? Oh, well, they can do the poses without fear, without their nervous system telling them it's too much. Now, I'm working through here again. Right close to my knee. I'm going to come down. I want to see if I can find, it's a little bit there, but I don't think I'm as bad. Let me go right in, there we go. right in the middle. I'm catching a little bit of my quad on this side, but it's also a little bit of adductor, kind of in between those muscle groups, right in there. I'm going to hook down and then shear out towards my knee. Yeah. Now I could shear to the front or the back to see where the guy's definitely to the back. Right. Oh, right there. Oh. My classes are essentially like yoga therapy on steroids. The students come in with a certain pain and I go, where? And then we start working and see if we can figure out how to help them with that in a short amount of time. It's sort of fusing the massage and body work I've done over the years into yoga in like a seamless way. I'm going to check our time, see where we're at for our hour class for today. Let's see, where are we at? Where are we at? What time is it? Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and lay down in Shavasana. If you want to put yourself on the foam roll just to open up your chest again, feel free. It's totally fine. I'm going to bring myself back into position on my back. I'm going to take my butt out so my head can lay down mostly flat. Top of the mat. And I'm going to walk the shoulder blades back and down, back and down, back and down. I'm going to press the shoulder blades into the floor while lifting my bottom and rolling out my lumbar spine. Now I want to lengthen both legs down below me. Just a little bit wider than hips width distance apart. I'm going to scoot that foam roll out of the way so it doesn't touch my foot. There we go. If you need to bend your legs, feel free, whatever makes your low back feel better so you can relax, release, unwind. You can scan your body from the feet all the way up to the top of the head. Where do you feel tension? Where do you want to hold your focus? Breathe comfortably and calmly. If you need to relax your jaw, you can always exhale out the mouth. If you feel like you're holding tension anywhere, hold your focus on that area. Maybe gently squeeze the muscles there. Hold it for a breath cycle or two. And then on the exhale, can you just let it relax, release, and unwind? If your mind wanders, just always return to your breathing, always return to your breath. Relax your feet, relax your lower legs, relax your thighs and hamstrings, relax your gluteals, relax your abdomen and low back, relax your upper back, thoracic spine, let your chest fall open, relax your arms, bicep, tricep, forearm flexors, extensors, palms, carpals. Relax your cervical spine, your neck, your jaw, your face, your temporalis. Relax all of your tissue, all at once. And you can wiggle your fingers and toes. Your eyes can open. You're going to roll onto your right side and push yourself up. You can turn around to seated, face the front, legs crossed. If you always cross your left leg in front, cross your right leg in front. We try to develop a little bit of symmetry from left to right side. Back of the palm is going to be on the knees. Pointer finger and thumb will touch. Long spine, a little bit of retracted neck, just to open and lengthen those vertebrae. Crown of the head lifts up and out through the ceiling. And palms at your chest, prayer position. Big in-breath, long spine, lifting through the crown. As you exhale, you can bow, thanking yourself for your practice today. Thank you for your time and attention. You can shimmy through your hips and kind of stretch through your gluteals. And namaste. Thank you guys so much for the practice today. We'll be here again tomorrow. I think we'll take off on Sunday, but I'm probably going to keep just working through things. If you have questions for me in video, you can message me on Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter or wherever else. Feel free to ask me questions. If there's something you want me to help you with, I'm very happy to do that. It's easy for me to deliver video in this form to be able to help you as much as I can during quarantine time. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow, probably about 4 p.m. I'll put up notifications on my social media. And these videos will be available after the fact on my Facebook page or on my YouTube channel. So I'll see you guys soon. Thank you again, and keep the faith.